Hello, lovelies. As I think we established with yesterday's Wolf the Apocalypse 5th edition review, I'm a sucker. And one of the things that I am a sucker for is anything with a kind of punk or underground comics sort of aesthetic. And so I ended up backing this game OSR, which means Obsolete Shitty Rules, which is a sort of parody of a distorted funhouse mirror version of what a lot of people seem to think the OSR is. Maybe I can enjoy this a little bit more because I don't really view myself necessarily as an OSR person, but I can see this ticking off a few people, but I think the satire is somewhat misdirected. Anyway, so this is the Kickstarter version of the book that I got. It's hardcover. Unfortunately, the gloss tends to show every little fingerprint you can think of, and the plastic coating seems to be coming away from the cover already in some places, which is unfortunate. It arrived a little bit foxed on the corners, but overall I don't much mind. It kind of goes with the aesthetic, really, which, as you can already tell from the cover, is exactly that kind of punk rock underground comics aesthetic, that I go for. Is there an RRP on here? I don't know how much it's actually selling for as an actual book that you can buy, but never mind. Right, it's by Tin Hat Games. It's how many pages? Can't even tell. That's a layout problem. 200. It's about 280 pages. It's square, quite nicely produced. It is full color throughout on glossy pages. Obviously, they don't make full use of that full color at all times. There's a lot of black through it. There's a lot of lurid colors through it. But what is it? It's an RPG. It's a gonzo RPG, and it's pretty much a one-trick pony. And that trick isn't that impressive. It's kind of like a pony counting by bashing its hoof against the ground, based on signals from the trainer. So it's not a hugely impressive trick, but its main sort of point is that you have to play by the book, and it sets up an adversarial structure between the players and the games master. The players are actually out to defeat the games master. The games master has an avatar in the game that they can actually fight and kill. That's how the players win. The games master wins by thwarting their attempts, and there are various rules and things that balance the two against the other, kind of, but not really. And otherwise, it's the fevered imaginings of a 13-year-old metal fan in a boring school class at some time in the late 80s. That's how I would put it. System's very simple. It's D10 plus or minus, bonuses or penalties. 6 or higher is a success. Anything lower is a failure. Experience points works kind of weirdly, kind of like Zombicide, in that you can level up while you're playing if you choose to when you gain experience points, which can also be spent for other things in the game. And that just basically gives you access to more powers and things to take on what the Games Master is doing. The Games Master can also earn experience points with which they can further fuck with the players as they want to. So players get points for accomplishing achievements, completing quests, or from other things going on in the game. They can spend XP to use their special abilities, to level up, or to re-roll a dice. The Games Master gains XP if they fail to complete a quest, if they fail to complete an achievement, or from some other effects. They can spend XP to create random encounters, roll on the Games Master table, or create heroic attacks with their monsters. Other little system quirks. So armor. You wear armor in a piecemeal way, and then when you're attacked and struck, you can choose to essentially sacrifice a piece of armor, which takes the damage for you. And each piece of armor can only deflect, one attack. So if you're struck twice in a turn, you could use your helmet to deflect one attack. You could use your breastplate to deflect another attack. Slightly interesting, but it is otherwise all pretty basic. They got a huge table of archetypical characters, but you can make your own custom characters. So it is kind of a fully featured RPG for the first 35 pages or so, and then pretty much everything else is random tables. So this is why I think OSR is a misnomer. It really should have been called something like RAW, Rules as Written, because the idea is that you do everything through the lens of the book and its random tables, which are somewhat indexed in the beginning, but there isn't a fuller index at the end. So it's table after table after table of things like achievements you need to aim for, beasts that you might run into, archetypes for characters or NPCs, should you so wish, many of which are outlandish, like cartoons, bureaucrats, conspiracy theorists, mummies, zombies, test subjects, you name it. It is a mix. While there might be different worlds in the game which conform to different sorts of rules, like an old Wild West world or a fantasy world or whatever, you can still be just about anything. Tables for buildings, tables for items. As the Games Master, it is your job to make some kind of sense out of anything that goes on. No matter how outlandish, no matter how weird. In fact, you could kind of use that to play this as a single player game, but I really do think that you need the player in the Games Master in opposition to one another to really make it work. So table after table after table of gonzo weirdness. It's kind of like if Morkborg hadn't taken itself quite so seriously, really. Yeah, it's the more adolescent Morkborg in terms of how it's presented, certainly. But what can I really say about a lot of tables that are really only suitable to gonzo type games? Not a huge amount. as it turns out, but there are a lot of them. So maybe this is better seen as a kind of gonzo companion or an OSR companion for more gonzo games, though you'd still need to ignore a lot of the results. This is their open license. Open the fuck you license. With the following, we intend to give our bros the possibility to use however the fuck they want the true OSR extreme game contents, and to fuck off anyone, even the authors themselves, in case they claim this license doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Alright, so I mean, there you have it. It's a series of random tables and a lot of cool underground sort of art. It is technically a playable game, but then DO2 and Gnome Murdered are technically playable games. I think I'd have to do a full proper game of it to truly adjudge its playability. But I think for a lot of games masters, weirdly, because you have to follow what's written, and because it's all tables, it's going to present a certain amount of difficulties, because you have less improvisational wiggle room than you otherwise might have. It does have some issues. There are sentence fragments that are not properly translated from the original language. Spanish, maybe, Italian, maybe, I forget. I can't be asked to look it up. Also, you'll find some description orders are reversed from what they should be in English. So, for example, in one instance, instead of chainmail bikini, you have bikini chainmail, which is how it would be in, Latinate Romance languages, not in Germanic or Anglo language. It's the wrong way around. So as you're reading through the book, that can be a bit jarring. It needed another editing pass before it went into layout, because the layout is not conducive to good editing, or particularly to reference, which is one of the other problems, I think, with the book, because it's so rules as written focused, and because you have to reference all of these tables throughout the book, constantly referencing it, using it, looking at the tables and so on. That's not hugely helpful. It would have been, or could be, a good idea to have the tables removed and laid out in a more conventional fashion. I think that's supposed to be an app with the game, but I haven't seen that yet, and I don't know what that does. I'm a book person, and I'm reviewing the book. So yeah, in terms of style, I don't think you can particularly fault the book on style. I mean, the presentation, as with Morkborg and other artpunk games, is evocative, but it is also an obstacle to usability. And there are the problems with the language, the translation issues that I've mentioned. So in terms of style, I'd give it a high 4, very nearly a 5. In terms of substance, there is a playable game here, but most of it is these random tables that you use in order to play, which almost make it solo playable, but not really, because you need a human games master capable of effective improvisation in order to make the whole thing really work and really shine. So a high 2 for substance. What this could be useful for, I think, would be an alternate rule set for playing Venger's Cholt. If you strip out the kill the games master thing and use the rest, particularly the tables, maybe the rules, it would be useful for that sort of thing. It's almost tailor-made for Venger, I would say. So yeah, a high 4 for style, a high 2 for substance. So that's 6 out of 10, 3 out of 5. So, pretty much smack bang in the middle, slightly higher. I do use the full range, 1 to 10, for my scores. Though, saying it's a high 4 and a high 2, if we round that up, that would be 7 out of 10 or 3.5 out of 5. If you're a gonzo-oriented person and you have a puerile adolescent sense of humour, then you can probably knock that score up a point or so. Zang.
Postcards from Validad is a darkly surreal tech noir game setting an adventure context for splatpunk and actual fucking monsters, or indeed any system you care to use. Validad combines cyber, bio, sci and narco-punk to create a Barrosian nightmare world of decadence, drugs, libertarianism, violence, glamour and oppression. You will delve into the strange lives of Validad celebrities, fiscal royalty, and the seedy underbelly in this unique game setting. Available at post-mort.com, lulu.com and drive-thru RPG.